Daily Dose of English presents Daily English Idioms. Part 14.
At the bottom of the ladder. Meaning: the lowest position in a hierarchy or social structure. Examples: I started at the bottom of the ladder, but I eventually worked my way up. She was stuck at the bottom of the ladder and couldn't move up. He was determined to climb up the ladder, starting from the bottom. Middle of the road. Meaning: being neutral or moderate, avoiding extremes. Examples: she was a middle-of-the-road politician, not taking sides on any issue. He was a middle-of-the-road leader, not taking any risks. We decided to take the middle-of-the-road approach to solving the problem. Do more harm than good. Meaning: to make a situation worse than it was before. Examples: his attempt to help only did more harm than good. Trying to force the issue only did more harm than good. His meddling only did more harm than good. Nip something in the bud. Meaning: to stop something from developing or growing. Examples: we had to nip the problem in the bud before it got out of control. She tried to nip the gossip in the bud before it spread. We had to nip the controversy in the bud before it spiraled out of control. Throw a tantrum. Meaning: to act in a very angry or frustrated way. Examples: she was throwing a tantrum because she didn't get her way. He threw a tantrum when he found out he couldn't go to the party. The child was throwing a tantrum because he wanted a toy. Wise up/get wise to something. Meaning: to become aware of something, to become more knowledgeable. Examples: I had to wise up and start studying for the exam. She got wise to his schemes and refused to go along with them. He had to wise up and stop making bad decisions. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Meaning: too many people giving orders, not enough people following them. Examples: there were too many chiefs and not enough Indians in the office. We had too many chiefs and not enough Indians on the project. He was frustrated because there were too many chiefs and not enough Indians. In the nick of time. Meaning: at the last possible moment, just in time. Examples: he arrived in the nick of time to save the day. They finished the project in the nick of time. She was able to get to the airport in the nick of time. In the first place. Meaning: at the beginning, initially. Examples: he shouldn't have done it in the first place. She shouldn't have said that in the first place. I shouldn't have agreed to it in the first place. Sitting pretty. Meaning: to be in a good position, to have a favorable situation. Examples: she was sitting pretty after getting the job. He was sitting pretty after winning the lottery. We were sitting pretty after completing the project on time. A finger in every pie. Meaning: to be involved in many different activities. Examples: he had a finger in every pie, so nothing got done. She had a finger in every pie and was always busy. He always had a finger in every pie, so his work suffered. On the cusp. Meaning, on the brink of something, close to a change. Examples: he was on the cusp of making a breakthrough. She was on the cusp of making a major decision. We were on the cusp of a new era. For that matter. Meaning, in addition, also. Examples: she didn't have the experience, for that matter, the qualifications. He didn't have the resources, for that matter, the time. I didn't have the money, for that matter, the motivation. Not in your right mind. Meaning, not thinking logically or rationally. Examples: she wasn't in her right mind when she made the decision. He wasn't in his right mind when he said those things. I wasn't in my right mind when I agreed to help them. At this stage of the game. Meaning, at this point, at this time. Examples: we couldn't change things at this stage of the game. She couldn't make a difference at this stage of the game. He couldn't fix the problem at this stage of the game. As blind as a bat. Meaning, unable to see, unable to recognize the truth. Examples: he was as blind as a bat when it came to understanding the situation. She was as blind as a bat when it came to recognizing the problem. We were as blind as a bat when it came to seeing the solution. Dying for something. Meaning, to really want something. Examples: he was dying for a promotion. She was dying for a chance to prove herself. We were dying for an opportunity to show what we could do. Hard and fast. Meaning, strict and flexible. Examples: we had to stick to the rules, hard and fast. She had to follow the guidelines, hard and fast. We had to adhere to the regulations, hard and fast. Backroom boys. Meaning, unseen people who do the behind-the-scenes work. Examples: the backroom boys were the ones who got the job done. She was one of the backroom boys who worked on the project. He was one of the backroom boys who worked tirelessly on the task. Change something beyond recognition. Meaning, to make something completely different. Examples: he changed the landscape beyond recognition. She changed the process beyond recognition. We changed the system beyond recognition. Waiting game. Meaning, to wait until the right time to act. Examples: we had to play the waiting game to see what would happen. She had to play the waiting game until the right opportunity came along. He was playing the waiting game to see if the situation would improve. As close as an oyster. Meaning, to be very secretive, to keep things close to the chest. Examples: she was as close as an oyster when it came to her plans. He was as close as an oyster when it came to his intentions. We were as close as an oyster when it came to our strategies. Today's idioms were at the bottom of the ladder, middle of the road or do more harm than good, nip something in the bud, throw a tantrum, wise up / get wise to something, too many chiefs, not enough Indians, in the nick of time, in the first place, sitting pretty, a finger in every pie, on the cusp, for that matter, not in your right mind, at this stage of the game, as blind as a bat, dying for something, hard and fast, backroom boys, change something beyond recognition, waiting game, as close as an oyster,